right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our third week of the Job Search Strategy Workshop Series. Before we get started, I would like to remind everyone, just put your video on mute. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box. One of us will answer as we go along, or you can wait until the end and ask us the questions. So today we're going to be discussing salary research and negotiation. My name is Andrea Boyle. I'm joined by my colleagues, Nancy and Ryan Murphy. So first things first, what is salary negotiation? So it is the process of determining and agreeing upon the amount and or types of compensation that an organization will pay the employee for work. So thinking about, it's not just what you're getting paid, but it's also the benefits, your vacation days and things like that. So when evaluating your offer and negotiation and doing your negotiation, and negotiating your potential salary, you want to make sure that you're doing this in a professional manner. So start with doing some research on the position. What is a typical salary for that job? Also considering benefits negotiation, since employers may be more willing to increase vacation time or offer additional relocation assistance. But it doesn't hurt to ask for a higher salary. So you can always start there. So step one, you want to make sure that this is a position that you want. So it's important to think about what is important to you. So asking yourself, does your mission and goals align with the organization's? What is the relationship of the position to your organization? And then the day-to-day tasks involved with the position, your prospective supervisor and coworkers. So thinking about all of these things and how they are important to you, like what's the importance to you. Okay, so some things that may be negotiated could be the location of the position. So a company that has multiple locations, you could always ask them, to work in a building that is closer to your home instead of maybe their main hub building. Or if it's something that you can do from home, you can maybe ask for a few work from home days instead of having to go into the office every day of the week. Or so with the start date. So say that you want to accept a position, but you're working somewhere else. So if you give your notice to your current job on, say, June 17th, being today, 2 weeks from now would be July 1st. But you're going to be spending a long weekend at the shore for 4th of July, you could negotiate your start date to be maybe the following Monday of July 13th. So thinking about negotiating that to give you some time just to kind of relax in between your positions and get started for your next position. So those are just some examples. You can also negotiate your performance reviews or, relocation expenses, maybe a signing on bonus, or just working in a different division or department. So some other items that may be negotiable would be, you can negotiate your schedule. Say instead of going in 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, you could do 4 10-hour days. Just thinking about like what works for you that could potentially work for the company as well. Also, you can negotiate your vacation days. So maybe they can't give you more money, but maybe they could give you more vacation days. So thinking about, if they're not quite up to par with how much you want to be making, say, hey, can I add an extra week of vacation? And just, it doesn't hurt to ask. You never know what could come of that. You can also ask for, a company car if you are going to be doing a lot of traveling for the position, maybe even some tools for work. Say you don't want to be using your own laptop, you can ask for a company laptop. You can ask for a window office if that's something that's available, or an expense account, even professional development opportunities. Sometimes those gatherings can be, $200 to be able to attend, or even being a part of a professional association, becoming a member. Again, that could be around $200. So maybe that's something that you could add to your offer letter. So step 2, you want to make sure that you are collecting your data on, what is typical salary for this type of position. You want to get that information from friends and recent grads who are searching for the same type of position in that field. And then consider the cost of living as well. So making sure that you know what $35,000 would look in Philadelphia versus $35,000 in New York or in DC, and what that looks like and what's the cost of living for each area. That might be a little bit more expensive in New York as opposed to Philly. And then salary ranges, based on the city and the state. So you can research all of that at www.salary.com just to get a better idea. And then when you finished your research, then you feel ready to negotiate, making sure you have all of your data, any questions that you could have, just making sure you're ready for that conversation. Okay, and then step 3, the decision. So when figuring out whether or not you want the job, salary is only one piece of that picture. So you want to make sure that this job is a good fit for you. So making sure that you're asking yourself these questions. So will this position help to develop new skills? Does your boss have the makings of a good mentor? All of these things can, make or break whether or not you want this specific position. Is there structured training? And what does that look like? How is it offered? How long does that take? You don't want a position where you're just kind of thrown out there and you're not really sure what to do, and you kind of have to figure it out on your own. And then looking at how are you going to be evaluated in your position, and all of that, and making sure that you are aware of all of your monthly expenses, and will this salary cover all of your monthly expenses? Making sure that that's something very important to know. Okay, and then when you're accepting the offer, you want to indicate your enthusiasm for that position. Making sure that you're establishing your start date. So making sure you're both on the same page as to when you would be starting, what's your first day, and then checking to see if there are any papers that you need to sign, making sure all of that paperwork's finished, and then celebrate. And then also, as once you verbally accept this, you don't want to go back on that and then say, oh, I got a better job offer somewhere else. If you plan on staying in the same career field, it's a very small world. So you want to make sure that, you're not burning any bridges, you're not offending any other employers when going through this process. And, professionalism is key. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining that throughout the process, to always negotiate and accept offers with integrity. And then if you're declining the offer, you want to make sure that you thank the employer for their interest. And then if you've accepted an offer with another employer, they might ask for feedback about the process, and maybe, what did they do wrong, or what can they do differently? What changed your mind about wanting to work at that specific employer? So, they're not being intrusive. It's just a part of their, benchmarking process. So you don't have to answer that question, but it might be helpful for them. Okay, so also here are some links about salary calculators and resources. So just, ways that you can look up what a typical salary would be for a position that you're applying for, just so you have kind of a baseline, what you should be expecting, what that offer would look like. All right, so now I want to show you ONET Online, which is a government-run website. So on here, let's say we want to just, you already know what you want. You want to do business analyst work. So you can look that up. And then here we have business intelligence analysts. You click on that. And this gives you a better idea as to what this position is. So what kind of tasks that you would be doing, technology skills, knowledge that you should have, just some additional information. And then all the way at the bottom, once we finally get there, you have your typical wages and employment trends. So if you wanted to see, typically, a median wage for this position, $88,000. So if you wanted to see what does PA offer, what's an average in PA, you type that in, and then you can see based on, the United States average, PA is a little bit lower than that. Not much lower, but a little bit lower. So that way you have a bit of a baseline for what you can anticipate in that specific position. All right. So are there any questions? I can put that PowerPoint back up if you want to see those. There we go. There's links again, so that way you can write them down or, visit them at a later time if you'd like. But any questions that we can help with at the moment?
Andrea, just a quick question. So on my previous job, when they were doing my salary, and I've never heard this happen with any of my other jobs prior to that, but when they were calculating my salary, other than what my take home, they were including what they paid towards health benefits, what they paid towards vacation, and they said all that included was my salary. So what that came up to be what I was actually bringing home. Is that normal? Do they normally do that? Include all that stuff? What they put in for 401k, what they put in for your benefits, what they put in for if you have a company car for traveling, stuff like that. And like they give you a gas card and all that, but they put it in as my actual salary, but that's not what I was actually bringing home.
Mm.
Is that normally done at businesses, or is this something that was just odd?
I mean,
'Cause I thought it was weird.
I've seen, like when they would tell us what our salaries are, and then they would include plus X amount for health benefits. But they didn't go into all that detail about the 401k and all that. I mean, that does seem a little different to me. I've never actually seen that, but maybe we could check with some HR people. They might be a little more familiar with that process. I mean, I think that is compensation, but it's not direct compensation. So that's a little tricky. I really never saw that.
Yeah, because I was kind of like, and like for instance, they would like do like, because if that was the case, because in my mindset, then if this is what most businesses and employers are doing for a salary, then what I'm asking for as a salary, I should probably increase if I want benefits and all that. But if that's not, you know what I mean? That's where my confusion is.
Plus, I mean, I don't think that's what they were reporting to the IRS as your salary.
I don't think so neither. But that's why I was just kind of concerned to why they would say this is what your salary is. This is what we're paying you, but that's not really what we're paying you. You know what I mean? That's why I was like, if other businesses are doing that, then maybe I should, when I update my resume more, that I should increase what I'm looking for, and not if that's what they do. But if that's something that you've never really heard of, then I'm just going to change as where I'm at then. I just want to make sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I've never heard that either, and I don't know how they're able to do that if they're not reporting that. But yeah, I would say typically they wouldn't be adding that in your base salary. That's like those are benefits; those are additional things.
Mm-hmm.
Come with the company when you apply for the job. I mean, but that's why I wanted to make sure, because I'm like, all right, well, if I'm asking for this amount of money, and if I need benefits, do I increase what I need to get more money on? You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I thought it was kind of weird, but I just figured I'd ask you guys because you're all professionals. And these links, are you gonna send this through like an email again, Nancy, like you did before on last week's? So I could, or should I write these all down?
We can definitely send them to you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, because I can kind of click on them and in between different things. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
awesome.
Are you familiar with Glassdoor, Kathy?
I'm not. I was actually just about to ask you guys about that. A lot of people I'm hearing say more and more about Glassdoor, but I'm not really sure what that is. Is that like another LinkedIn, Indeed type thing?
It's more involved in that. Like people, you can go on and you could see the type of questions different companies ask of when for interviews. People put remarks about the companies. Like sometimes if we get information about a company and I think, oh, I wonder how that company is, I'll look it up, and employees will give, reviews on it. Now you have to take all that with a grain of salt, but they do have the salary part, and so that's a good site to. I think you can look for positions on there too, but I'm not quite sure.
It's almost like a Yelp for employers where people can give comments. So as Nancy said, we kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. But underneath that, we can get some good information about the organization, and particularly the stuff about, questions that they might ask in an interview, how satisfied employees are who work there. Like that. That's all good information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you're on LinkedIn, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important, especially right now. An employer that we spoke with about a month or so ago, she said she actually looks at people's LinkedIn profiles more closely than even their resumes. So they have a good job search section that I was on another webinar earlier and someone was showing us that. So I'm waiting for her to give me more information, but it's really important to use LinkedIn to the best of your ability, connect with people, connect with us. You can look at companies, and so and you could put so much more on your LinkedIn profile than your resume if you've worked on projects and that type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to keep up to date and adding more connections and networking within my LinkedIn profile as well.
Great.
I guess that's all the questions I had. I just was more curious about that, and then there's one more webinar next week, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And you
The
can
next week's
I'm sorry.
Next week's going to be about the interview process.
Perfect. Awesome.
And then anytime you ever want to meet with us one-on-one, feel free. We could set it up through Zoom. We could talk on the phone, whatever, might work for you. We're happy to do that too.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Great.
Thank you.